What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Bat Chat number 4. Appreciate you guys being here. Tonight, we're going to do one topic and one topic only, and that is going to be promotion. Now, we're going to be doing a little bit of actual promoting, especially the folks that are going to pop on here and chat with me. But we're going to talk about the idea of promotion and the fact that people get really riled up when you suggest that people should promote. And if you suggest collaboration and alignment, things of that nature. And so we'll take a look at a tweet that I made that was very, very tame and kind of common sense. If you've been following crowdfunding and specifically CG over the last 5, 8 years, and some of the well, odd responses that I received and get people's thoughts and yeah, chat. That's the whole point of this. So I'm going to bring on my guests here. First, we have Dan, Godfo Universe. How's it going, man?
Yo, what's up, man? Just here to talk some more crap, I guess.
Well, which is funny because, we would literally have people say that we talk crap. And I've even been called an attacker this week, that I attack people because apparently critiquing people's opinions and content is now an attack because, people just can't not be hyperbolic on Twitter. But yeah. And we also have Nick Patch, new face to the channel here. How's it going, man?
Good. Yeah, it's good to be on.
Yeah, appreciate you being here.
I've
Yeah,
never met you, but I've been on with Dan before, so at least
I'm
I'm
sorry.
halfway into treaded territory for me.
Oh yeah. Well, and see, I know you because you're a avid promoter on Twitter. So, this is a good example, and I think that's how I came across Dan. Either he was promoting something or I was promoting something, and there you go. We got connected, just like most of the folks that I've connected with on a creative level. It's because someone shared a campaign. And I mean, that right there just speaks to kind of the volume of the benefits, in my opinion. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's weird that someone would think promoting is a bad idea. Yeah.
Some people think it makes you a commie,
Mhm.
that you're demanding things, you're trying to oppress other creators, or.
Well, that's why I do it.
Well, I get
Yes,
a huge
everyone
laugh
knows.
out of it when you say, like, hey, I think everyone should promote. That's like inclusive, right? That includes yourself. Just a general statement, like a suggestion. And then people respond with, oh, you just want everyone just promote you. You don't want to promote them. You're just demanding people do it for you. And it's like, do you struggle with English, or are you just lying on purpose? I'm going to go with the latter, but yeah.
Could go either way, I suppose. So,
It's true.
so yeah, I mean, about promoting other people's, like, I see why people wouldn't want to promote someone else's thing like in public, especially if they haven't like read it, because
Mhm.
your brand, when you're building a brand, it's all about, if you tell someone to go do something and they go do it and they have a good experience, then they associate doing what the thing you ask them to do with a good experience. So if you ask them
Mhm.
to do something again, say, go buy your own book, and they go do it, then they're expecting a good experience. So if you haven't read someone's thing and you're saying, hey, go check out this guy's thing, and then they're like, oh yeah, that's a great idea, and they go check it out and it sucks, then then you're giving yourself a bad brand. So
Mhm.
I don't know, maybe I have a little bit of a middle ground in this conversation. We'll see how it goes.
Now, I can understand that stance, but that's kind of the rare reasoning for people. It's usually non-creators that I've seen have that opinion versus actual creators.
Hmm.
And I think it depends on how you promote too, right? Like when I promote, I'm very distinct on whether or not I've read the person's work, or if, hey, I haven't checked this out yet and I just judge the Kickstarter or Indiegogo page as is, right? To make
Yeah.
it clear that it's like, hey, I'm not telling you from experience that this is good, just saying, hey, check it out, see if this interests you. And if it does, hey, help out an indie creator. And then you find out if it's your cup of tea. But yeah, people get just a little bit too extreme sometimes in regards to their response there. And it's more based off of assumptions than um, reality.
Yeah.
Let's see in the chat here. We have Mr. John Apple. What's going on, man? Thanks for being here. And Super Teasel says, refreshing to see someone have a short, non-obnoxious intro. Yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword. I mean, sometimes it means you're going to have some less viewers at the very beginning. But yeah, I like to keep it, under 2 minutes and have at least cover what my channel is about versus just a bunch of random videos or music. We have Chris Bouchard. How's it going, man? Thanks for being here. And then Super Teasel. So this, I guess, goes right into the topic here. It says, saying everyone should promote isn't the problem. Saying we need to promote each other is the problem. So I think, from my understanding, like Super Teasel is a reader, a backer. So I could understand that perspective from being a backer, right? It's like a bonus, right? If backers and potential readers are sharing. The only way I would say someone needs to promote, it's more in a group or community setting. So, for example, CG, right? For me, the only way that CG can kind of revitalize itself or get back to where it was from a funding standpoint, they need to cross promote. I mean, that's the only way that they're going to get funding levels up. If people aren't getting the promotion of other people, and vice versa, it's going to be obvious that the funding is going to go down like it has in essence. And there's plenty of other factors we'll talk about, like the economy and things like that. But, for me, I believe creators should promote. But I think if you're going to say that you're in like a group, or if you're in like a promotion back room on Twitter, for example, right? And that's like the whole purpose of being in that group, you probably should or need to promote the other people as well, especially if they promote you. I do have more of a, hey, if someone scratches your back, you should scratch them back. And, everyone can benefit type of mentality.
Wait, aren't people accusing you of only taking the promotion and not giving it? And here you are saying that you should promote other people's stuff? That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a mixed bag. There have been a couple people that they'll just go right out and say, you just expect everyone to promote you. You just want to take, you just want to take. And I'm just sitting here like, I've never, ever had that approach or belief. And I think, you guys know, especially Dan, since I've known you a bit more.
Yeah.
Like the folks that retweet me, I retweet them. Unless, if there's NS, not safe for work content, then I won't retweet that because it's more of a moral thing, nudity and whatnot. But if I see people retweeting me, I'm gonna give back as well. I just think that's the right thing to do. So
I think it's. I'm not saying this is the end all be all, but my approach is you should do unto others how you'd want to be done, like how you want to be treated, and basically expect that no one else is going to do this.
Zeus's law.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll go with that, right? It's like if I get on a show, if I ask someone to come on, or if I get on, I expect that at some point in the future I'll platform that person as well. That's reciprocal. Some people aren't creators, and that's fine. And when they aren't, I still like promote their stuff. Like, I think people know enough. Katie from K-pop, like she doesn't create, or at least doesn't right now, but she has one of the best comic promo shows ever. So I share all her stuff and hype up every single episode because she does great work, not just for myself, but other people. And I mean, word of mouth is how people find anything. I mean, there's like, it doesn't matter how many ads McDonald's throws on TV or Toyota throws on TV. That's not what sells stuff. What sells stuff is your buddy bought a Toyota and loves it. Maybe you got to drive it and figure out how it handles, and so you go buy one. That's all promotion is. It's what BA said, like, hey, I promote things that I like so other people will like it, or that I am impressed with, even if I don't personally enjoy it.
Yep.
So someone else might.
Well, the other thing is there's kind of two layers to this. The one layer is YouTube, the other layer is Twitter. YouTube, I can understand that everyone has their own level of bandwidth or allotted time to even stream. So I get it if certain people can't platform a lot of folks, right?
Yeah.
Like I only do this once a week. So yeah, I may only be able to bring on one person a week to promote. Maybe I'll eventually do more of a panel style promotion, but it's very limited versus someone that may not have a day job and can stream, several times a week or doesn't have a family, right? So, but whereas Twitter, you just click a button, like it takes no time, it takes no effort. Again, if the content you like have an issue with, again, from a moral standpoint, I get it, but you don't see a lot of that. At least I don't see a lot of that on Twitter because I don't follow that stuff, but it's, again, that's the lowest effort. But I've had a lot of cases where I've retweeted something and then I found out that they backed somebody else's campaign just because it got in front of them. So to me, then it's like, okay, it was worth taking that 1 second to click and hit retweet. What's the harm?
Well, I mean, there's also, to be fair to people that might have like a touchy reaction, there are some crazy people.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
There are crazy people that will either by maliciousness or insanity take and give nothing back. And then come and attack you when you don't give them the shirt off your back again.
Mhm.
And those people, I mean, I just think the solution to that is, kind of just being adult, being like, nah, not dealing with you. It doesn't have to blow up. It doesn't have. What happens though is if there's a crazy person, a lot of people who might also be crazy or not as crazy will then try to monetize the crazy person, and then you're feeding a big system instead of just being like, "No, I'm not dealing with this." Like you brought up a guy the other day or today that's like, I've never interacted with this person, and every time I see him create a new account on X, I just block him because like. To me, that's wisdom. Wisdom is learning from other people's mistakes. Experience is learning from your own mistakes. So if you see crazy people, just don't interact with them.
And we have also Katie Eclipse is here. How's it going? Thanks for being here. Another great promoter, someone that does it every week, multiple times a week. A lot of times, invites a lot of people on there. So, and she's a backer. She hasn't created anything yet, but hats off again, like the other Katie you just mentioned, who is also awesome. Again, they just promote people because they like comics, they like the community, and it's fantastic. And there's just not many people like that around. There used to be, when we streamed with Patrick and Aaron a couple weeks ago, there used to be 20, 30 people doing that, whether they're a creator or not. And now it's like you might be able to count on one hand how many people are doing it. So it's unfortunate, but more appreciation towards people still doing it.
Well,
what do you think did that?
I think it's a mixture of things. I mean, I see it in the CG sphere and non-CG sphere. Both. The momentum is down. Seems like there's not as much steam. There's not as much promotion, not as many channels. And I'm seeing folks speak out on, in general, in regards to there just not being a lot of promotion. I mean, the CG one's kind of obvious, right? There's been infighting, a lot of breakups and things like that, to where some just stepped away from creating comics, or they stepped away from Twitter and YouTube. Others have kept at it, but they're just not really doing the promotion. So, but there's also very vocal people outside of CG that typically streamed a lot and tweeted a lot, and you're just not seeing it. And I don't know if it's that the economics of it are kind of catching up to them, Could be real life stuff. I mean, I had to step away for a year and a half because
Yeah.
of that. But and there's also I talked about this the other week. Creators fall into some buckets. You have the ones that they saw an opportunity, they saw people were making money, and they started making comics as a way to make quick bucks because it was much easier in the past. I think most of them are gone because it ain't easy anymore. And so you're left with the truly passionate people that love comics. And there's also, unfortunately, the truly passionate people that just couldn't do it because of the economics, which is a shame. But that, to my point, I believe, is why we need more promotion, and we need folks to cross promote so that those people can raise enough money to stay in the game. Because that's what crowdfunding is all about: being able to just stay in the game. For most of us, just being able to make, not even making a profit. So,
Well, part of this, I think, is the digital aspect of it. And I always talk about this, but I think it's true. And I think people can relate to it in other ways. I was a musician. I'm still a musician, but and for years, and Josh, my artist, was as well. And that's how we met. But when you're doing music, like you have to know people. And like no one puts on a show by themselves, because most people, especially when you're young, you're like 20, you haven't written 4 hours of music. So the only way to get shows is you go to a venue and they let you open for somebody that's bigger, or you find three other performers, three other bands, and you bring them and say, we'll put on a show and you pay us nothing. And, you get to sell drinks and we get to be loud and people get to find us. And sometimes there's infighting, sometimes there's egos, people fight each other in different bands, but you also see each other face to face, so that isn't as bad, if that makes sense. There's always drama and everything, but when something is like face to face, it's different than people talking online and talking shit online.
I see what you mean. Yeah. The people like kind of separated by the screen, it still feels like personal, but you feel protected from like actual repercussions. So it's like when you're sitting in a room with a few guys and it starts to get a little heated, there's always this kind of, everyone knows this could get physical and no one really wants it to get physical. And so people are willing to kind of calm themselves down and be more reasonable. Online, you don't have that, People try to make it physical sometimes. I've seen that. People threatening people, doxing people, but I mean, that's few and far between, right? So, yeah, I see what you mean, Godfo, Dan.
Yeah, but to your point, Dan, one of the things too, which we'll go into when we look at the tweet, is that I think everybody knows, doesn't matter the level of your quality of book. It's an extreme rare case that if someone were to just put their book on a crowdfunding site, it would do well. You either have to have name recognition, connections, or you have to be paying for a lot of marketing. And most of us and most normal indies have none of that, which is why YouTube, Twitter, social media, right, is so critical, because that's the only way to connect, get on platforms. And because otherwise it's not going to be seen. That's just the reality of it. And why is everyone doing crowdfunding? Well, because it's not very possible or realistic to get into the mainstream because of what they've done to the system, and the lack of focus around quality and the actual content. So, I mean, that's again why, even though independent is in the name, there's a lot of dependency in independent comics, and that's around engagement and getting eyeballs on your projects. If you were to do it 100% on your own, I mean, good luck. There are some people that get lucky, but if you don't connect with others and get seen by others, you're in for a surprise.
Well, it sounds bad or whatever, but like the self-made man doesn't exist. There is like the edifying man, like a man who can believe in himself and have confidence. But everyone's had help. Everyone has, like, talk about all the greats. Frank Miller was like mentored. I don't know if it was Ramita Junior or Ramita Senior who did it, but I forgot who it was. An artist took him in, like basically in his house, and taught him how
Art
to draw.
Adams, I think.
Art Adams,
Yeah.
there you go.
I think he started out inking too, so like he had
Yeah.
to start from, I guess not that there's anything wrong with inkers. Inkers are very important, but that's less of a glorified position.
Oh yeah, and everyone had. I mean, that was every great man of history had mentors. In fact, they had multiple mentors. Like Caesar was taught by the greatest philosophers and generals of his time. Like Napoleon, this is how it used to be, and it used like there's this idea that someone just magically succeeds of their own merit. It doesn't exist because it's not built that way. Humans are social people, and I don't know what to tell you. Like that's just how it is. Like you have to believe in yourself. You have to be confident. You have to work. But there's just gatekeepers. There's barriers, and you know what? Those things are good because those things are when they work properly, they filter out the chaff. That's what they're there for. And I mean, even the guys who started CG had names because they came from companies. They didn't appear out of nowhere.
Yep. So Rob Curo says, so basically more people in CG need to promote each other rather than asking those outside, because creators outside the group not only back strangers, but they also put their name and rep on the table.
What's up, Rob?
And the readers promote a campaign they might not like or not. So I have to disagree. I agree that people within CG need to promote each other more, because that's kind of how CG gained its legs outside of having mainstream names in it. But I don't believe in this whole there's a wall between.
Oh yeah, we wouldn't be
CG
here if there was a wall, right?
CG, right. Like I'm now, yes, maybe there are some people that are staunchly like, I don't know anyone that won't in CG that won't talk outside of CG. I do know people outside of CG that won't talk to people within CG, but I like to be one of those people that challenges myself to bridge that gap, to be like, hey, isn't this about comics? Like, yeah, you cannot like certain people in a group. I don't have a problem with that, but at the end of the day, this is supposed to be about comics. And I'd say almost all of the comics in CG are non-political. They're just comics. They're just indie comics. There's nothing crazy about them at all. Regardless of what you think about the beliefs or actions, I guess you could say, or words of some of the creators, a lot of the creators are just normal, calm dudes. And I think that they should be trying to branch. They need to get their books in front of everybody. They need to talk to everyone. As long as they're being treated with respect, absolutely. Go outside, get on streams, and bring back, try to bring some backers with you when you go to those outside channels and avenues. I mean, look at conventions. I mean, obviously, people in CG still do conventions, and there's a reason why, because you're trying to get people to see your books. So I think that whole stigma that he's kind of alluding to, that, if you align with or talk with or whatever with a CG person, that's going to ruin your reputation. But it's like, if that's the case, you're not truly an independent. Like, maybe if you're someone that's
truly like a man,
right? Like maybe you're desperate to get in the mainstream and you don't want to have like that stain or whatever. Not that that's a good excuse by any means, but if you believe you're just in it to do it independently, then you should be strong enough in your convictions and words to convince anyone that it's okay what you're doing. So, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, like who like this is what's so funny, man. This is like the double-sidedness of all of this. Is like you get called a commie for like saying everybody should promote, everybody should help, and it's like, well, man, only like commie or like feminine-minded people are gonna like judge you based on who you talk to, or like what group someone you talk to is. It's like, I don't care. Like since day one, like Josh and I have talked to everybody, CG or not. I've got Doug Ernst from Iconic Comics on my channel like 4 times because he's a good friend of mine. He was there when no one else was.
You can't tell him to unblock me.
Man, I'm staying out of it. That's my thing. Is like, and I'll hang out with anybody in CG. I don't care. And like, why should I care what someone says or thinks? And if people within different camps fight that I know, I'm a grown man and they're grown men. I don't care. I have family members that won't see each other, and I'm not
Mhm.
going to play like pussyfoot middleman for them. So I don't know. Like that's the thing is you get a lot of people, especially on Twitter and comic Twitter, that throw around big talk, and it's like, man, adults don't talk this way. Adults don't act this way.
They
Like,
shouldn't. That's for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
chill out. Like, like in fact, it's not to be mean, but it's like some of y'all don't even make comics, and the ones who
Mhm.
do, like, don't finish comics, and like these aren't like major people. These are like no one has expectations for you. Like, do your job. And I
Mhm.
don't know. That's what mainly gets my gears. It's like, Jesus, man, like I gotta work like 45, 50 or so hours, 60 hours a week sometimes. I'm not putting up with some moron on Twitter.
Yeah, and this goes into that discussion around, guilt by association, which I don't believe in. There
No.
are indie creators or publishers that I don't like, some that I think are not good for the space by any means, but I'm not going to block or not talk to or interact with someone that may like them. If they treat me with respect, they'll get it in kind. So I don't understand the preemptive blocks and just assuming that,
I've
oh,
never
you interact
understood.
with this person, you're, going to be judged. But
Oh yeah, I block people based on their actions, like
Mhm.
how they treat me and people that I know. And if someone is just like being rude, I just block them. I don't care.
Mhm.
No one like deserves to be judged based on like who they're friends with or what group they're in. But I'm 100% fine judging like and blocking retards. Sorry, Nick. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's good. I tend to just not block anyone.
I
And
Yeah,
maybe that's
same.
just because I think like, I mean, I could just ignore, or like, I also really like putting these people like out, like, so other people can see. It's like, um,
Mhm.
but like, I'm not going to go and attack them or whatever, but I'll try and have a civilized conversation. And then when I finally see, oh, that's never going to happen with this person, I just ignore them. I won't block them. But I
Mhm.
mean, I can see why you would, Dan. I just tend not to. I don't know
There's
why.
only there's been a select few I've blocked, but it's only because they do over the top things or say over the top things where you're just like, okay, I don't want to see this. But
Oh,
that's
right.
luckily not that common. So I did want to highlight this. So Andrew Campbell says like the rise of the Iron Age, which is basically a circle jerk. See, that one was really interesting because when I entered the space, it's when that kind of people started saying they're in Iron Age and that kind of became a thing. And like I supported that in CG at the same time. And there was a lot of cross promotion, kind of cross pollination. It made sense. It was more like non comics and Iron Age, and then obviously comics and Comicsgate. But then some really big names who were anti CG started taking on the whole Iron Age tag, but they were the prime examples of just takers. All they did was take. They latched onto it or created the Iron Age tag just for their benefit to get a bunch of people to back them, to support them, but they didn't promote anyone. They weren't doing anything for the community other than just highlighting the tag as a way to say, hey, come give me backers, which to me is actually the prime example of why it failed and why I think indie comics in general are starting to, well, they're having these issues with funding is because the same thing is happening, but on every level. You're having folks that, I mean, you see folks that just they ask for promotion, they're on a bunch of channels, but you never see them promote anyone. I think it's
Yeah.
catching up to those folks. And there's people that promoted a ton in the past and they're doing less and less of it. And I think it's part of why their funding numbers are down as well. There's also optics to the entire situation, but um, the ones that jump into any movement and just try to benefit it from it, they'll take the cash they can get and then they're out.
Yeah.
Which same thing with indie comics sometimes.
I was on a show with a backer. His name's Justin Knight. he's a great guy, but he has been burned a lot of times by these opportunists who never even finish their books, right? And I think that that's that's why I try not to brand myself as anything. I'm not going to associate with Iron Age or Comicsgate or like whatever faction, or even I am indie, but I'm not just going to blindly say all indie comics are great. And the reason for that is because when you associate yourself with a group and then things like that happen within that group, now you're associated, right? You are part of the group where they don't finish their books, or they were just grifting the whole time, which that's been the case for a lot of people, as Justin walked me through some of them. And it's like they never had any intention of finishing their books. They were just crowdfunding to get money. And they took it and ran. And so, you become associated with that. And so my question to you guys is, if people were promoting and things were going well, so why would it stop going well? Minus, just forget about promotion, because once you have a group of people, like we'll talk about it business wise, if you have a large customer base and your product is really good, then you'll have very low churn. So people won't leave. They'll keep coming back. And so do you think that there's any, kind of problem with the quality of some of the products that have been associated with some of these kind of factions, or even just, indie comics in general, that people were here and they were excited, and then they got some of their stuff and the quality just wasn't there, and maybe that's why they're not as excited anymore, and why you see that we really need promotion now, because people are churning out, so to speak?
Yeah, I think one of the side effects of not just some of the bad books, unfulfilled books, etc., is that some of the good books are not being promoted as a result. They're kind of being overlooked because of the fear of those things happening, or people losing interest because of those factors. I mean, personally, I do think, when it comes to like the Ripperverse stuff, I do think that the quality has certainly had an impact on its trajectory and all of that. In terms of Iron Age, I guess that kind of goes hand in hand. Since it was all novel based for the most part, not a lot of people read a lot of novels, not a lot of people promote a lot of novels, so kind of don't know about the quality. And there were only a couple comics. So personally, in regards to CG, I've backed a lot of books, and it's a mixed bag, but it also, you have to go into backing a book with different expectations, right? If it's an mainstream pro, obviously you should have pretty high expectations for the quality, right? They've been trained, they know what they're doing, or they should know what they're doing, versus someone that's just never created a comic and this is their first comic. So I think there's a scale to the expectations as well as the leniency. But yeah, there have been some books that are just not good, and so I didn't back, their second book, for example. But I've also been extremely surprised by some of the books, to where. But what's funny is those ones I've been really surprised by, a lot of them have been under promoted, in my opinion, and highly underfunded. But it is a real shame when, bad looking books get a ton of attention when some of the good books do not, obviously. But it's just a human nature flaw, I guess, with anything, right? With products in general.
Yeah. And, some people may be able to kind of separate, but, it's all still under kind of an umbrella, a brand umbrella, right? So when someone takes and they put their money in and they wait fucking sometimes like 2 years or whatever, they wait forever to get their book, right? And then, they read it, and that's effort. That takes time. You have to, you have to tell your kids to shut up for a minute and go hang out with mom, and you got to go into your study and you got to sit down and you got to read it. Sometimes they're long, like 60 plus pages. It's going to take some time. And then it's just like not good writing. Maybe the art's okay, or maybe it's not. And then, you remember, even if it's like subconsciously, you remember, oh, this all started, this like disappointing moment that I'm having all started, and all this wasted work all started because this person in, say it's Comicsgate, like whatever faction it, I don't care, Rippaverse, whatever it is, said I should go and check this out and get it. And so the kind of neural pathway that's being like drawn out here is not given a reward at the end, and so it just dies. And so the next time someone sees a Comicsgate post, they're less likely to, unless maybe it's got some certain person that it is by some certain creator, they're just less likely to click and actually go back it and then read it when it does get to their door. And like that's a big problem too, I feel like. Some people just never end up reading a thing, and so they have no reason to like get the next thing. But that's a different conversation. But yeah, so I don't know, that's just like from like a branding and business perspective, I can see that having a lot of effect on the amount of people who are sticking around. And the better your product is, the more likely you are to have your audience members bring in new audience members. So if your product's no good, everyone's going to tell everyone not to get it. But if it's really good, everyone's going to go tell everyone, yeah, you should get this one. Come get this. And that'll be natural word of mouth, word of mouth referrals. And some businesses like live on that. They don't do any social media promotion. They don't have billboards. I'm just talking business in general, not comics necessarily, but they don't do any promoting at all. All of their business and their thriving businesses come from referrals because their product is just that good. And they give them that great of an experience in onboarding and just, customer service and everything. And so then when their aunt says, oh, I'm looking for someone to do my drywall, they okay, well, I know exactly who you should have do your drywall because I had a great experience with these people. And so, yeah, I just wonder how much of it is a promotion problem and how much of it is a churn problem.
Yeah, I think it's a mixed bag, and kind of depends on the faction. Like I said, quality of books wise, it's been a mixed bag for me. I'd have to say my expectations were met, again, on that scale, depending on the type of creator. Let's say maybe 75% of the time, with 25% being like, oof. Which again happens. And then, it's kind of it's a learning experience, just like when you check out a new director or writer's work in film and all that, right? You either find out quick that you don't like them, or you're kind of in the middle ground and you might give them a second chance again. I do think the, let's say late book or unfulfilled books is definitely a factor. I think that's layered too. You have one layer of it is, if it's just like one book from one creator, not a big deal if they're giving you updates and it's being worked on, in my opinion. If it's multiple books, single creator, there's no extenuating circumstances, same thing, leaves you in a, what the heck type scenario. And the ones that just fall off the face of the earth, never fulfill, I mean, that's just unacceptable. I mean, if you can't afford to do it, at least own up to it and communicate to people, and don't launch another campaign. That's it.
Give everyone their money back.
Now, the other layer to that is the agitators, right? The folks that are purposely trying to make creators look bad, especially if they're popular, and then the entire faction, in a way, pays the price. that's a big issue in the indie space, where it could be a scorned backer, whether it's because of not receiving books or they just don't like the person for whatever reason, and they try to start fires all over social media.
Mhm.
Sadly, you can see people get convinced not to associate with or back that faction's campaigns solely based off of rumors and allegations and stuff. And that's the shit that is just super unfortunate, right? Because it should be solely based off of the individual creator's performance and quality. And I mean, that's how I approach things. I don't give a crap about anyone's factions. Like, I'm going to judge that creator and their work individually. I would never, I mean, like, for example, Rippaverse, right? Like, I'm not a fan of the books or the content. It's not my cup of tea, but I'm not going to say, hey, I will never back a Mike Baron book because of that, right? I'm not going to write off the individual creators,
Right.
because not all of them obviously came up with the concepts for the books. They didn't have full control over the books. And him, for example, he's a fantastic writer and I enjoy his books. But there are people that have that opposite mindset with the factions. Like, well, I don't like that faction or one person in that faction, so I'm writing them all off.
Mhm.
And that's really unfortunate, because there are really good creators that suffer as a result. And a lot of times those agitators will go at the people kind of on the lower rungs or the newer creators, because they think they're indirectly going after the person they don't like, that they view that is on top, which is why people reacted the way they did in my tweet. That's exactly why.
Yeah, I think Dan would find this interesting because he's into the whole, kind of philosophy and spirituality kind of spheres. But the idea that a lot of these people are associating with the faction backers, specifically, that a lot of them are associating with the faction in the same way that a lot of people associate with gangs, and it's because they want to have identity and brotherhood, right? And so then their whole identity becomes, oh, I'm a Comicsgate guy, or I'm a Rippaverse guy. And you've seen the same thing happen, with Marvel and DC back in the day, right? And then there are the people who, like, it sounds like you rather than trying to service a faction or care more about that, you care more about higher ideal, which would be like good storytelling in comics.
Mhm.
And so you don't care where it comes from. If it's good, it's good, and that's what you care about. But it seems like a lot of people have tied their identity up into one of these factions, whether it's, Rippaverse, Comicsgate, Iron Age. I'm sure there are some others that I don't even know about. And I kind of see that as sad, because, then you blindly have to say everything in there is awesome, even if you kind of don't like it, or you're like tricking yourself into thinking that everything in Comicsgate is amazing, or everything in the Rippaverse is amazing, or the opposite, everything in the Rippaverse sucks, or everything in Comicsgate sucks. Same thing goes for Marvel, DC. I don't know. What do you think, Dan? I thought that you'd kind of think that was an interesting point.
I do. I think people like belonging, people like having a sense of things, and I think that that's a double-edged sword. I think it can get people into comics or whatever medium, and I also think that it can, attract bad faith actors who just want to agitate for a team. And a lot of it is just, I think what BA is honestly brilliantly leading is a post-Comicsgate space, honestly. And I'm not saying that it's being done away with, but it clearly is at least being decentralized. And that's probably what it has to do, because every movement has to do that. Every movement has to grow, and then expand, and it usually does that. I mean, let's say like the church or an empire does. It usually breaks apart like a flower in some way and goes and spreads seeds, and they grow different. They grow another thing, I think that the fact that the three of us here are talking, you've got two guys who aren't CG and BA who is, and it's like the most relaxed thing. There's no drama, and there's nothing. It's just talking about the art of the comic itself, and the medium itself speaks to the fruition of that idea. You know what I mean? So I think maybe like the gang mentality will probably go away. It will either become like scattered groups, or it will just completely fade away, and people can get back to liking comics. And that's hard, because you want to talk about like a real Iron Age. That's what that is. That's when the weeds have been pulled out and like the field is there to be planted again.
Yeah, it's funny because amongst creators, I think there's less, let's say, staunchness in regards to factions. Like I said, I think
Yeah.
like a lot of the people in CG will talk with anyone. They'll go on streams outside of it, and there's very few that are like, like it's just like my whole identity is CG. I think you see more of what you were talking about on the reader base side or fan side of things, and which is why a lot of times factions end up colliding. Yeah, sometimes creators collide in different factions. That happens, but it's more on like an individual base. But you'll have those agitators try to inflame it and act like it's this massive. It's like this entire group versus this entire group, when in reality, it's usually a couple creators here versus a couple creators, or some fans here that are very aggressive versus some fans here, and then the rest are just normal.
Yeah.
But it's always the craziness that is going to get the attention, and sadly kind of place thoughts and impressions in people's heads, versus like this, just people talking, having conversations. So I did want to highlight this comment here. Super Teasel says it's easy. Indie books I can find from indie comic publishers in my LCS have been 99% better than anything I've read from crowdfunding. I'm confused how you're confused. So I'd have to press X for doubt on that. It may be 50% or 75% if the general public were to read one versus the other. And again, it depends, right? Are you talking an X Pro that's a indie, comic crowdfunding person, versus one that's just brand new, who's never done it, versus someone that's in the middle? It's very situational, but there are some fantastic books in true indie comics. And there's fantastic books that are with indie comic publishers, but I've also seen some books that are with indie comic publishers that you're just looking at and you're like, what? It's
Well, he name dropped Bad Idea Comics, which is, I think, I could be wrong, but I think it's predominantly like ex pros that do the books, or at least do the art. So
they should be
to
good.
me. Yeah, and it's like, okay, well, that's indie, and then there's crowdfunding, and it's the same thing. Like you've got ex-professionals in both of these crowds, and you've got non-ex-professionals in both of these crowds. And okay, now we're just talking two different ways of distribution instead of actual differences of style.
I do think, though, he has this kind of a point with, there's with crowdfunding, the audience is the gatekeeper.
Yep.
And with, say, Image is the gatekeeper. Whoever's in charge, I don't know. Whoever's in charge reading the pitches. So there is another level of quality control, which, hopefully works out for the better for them more often than not. I'm sure sometimes something slips through the cracks that isn't that great, or they end up not picking up something that would have been awesome. So, but with crowdfunding, especially if it's the first book, like, you're going to have a lot of crap, because the audience doesn't know yet. They're just looking at, oh, well, the art looks pretty cool in the stuff they're posting. Or the story sounds interesting, what an interesting premise, but then they get it and it's kind of like written like crap, and the art they were seeing was really just like cover art that was done by someone else, and the interior art kind of sucks, or whatever it is. So it's just harder to gatekeep, especially on first issues, for the audience than it is for Image.
Well, I think that speaks to what we're talking about. I think gatekeepers are good. or at least good gatekeepers are. And I think that's what BA is trying to articulate here. And correct me if I'm wrong, BA, but the idea of promoting each other is to be a form of gatekeeping. It's not to just throw any crap up there. It's to say, here, this is what I found interesting, or I personally like, or I'm hoping to take a chance on, the same way that an editor would. There is the lack of risk of monetary involvement. An editor in a company isn't going to print something they don't think will make profit. But that's also the punk rockness of crowdfunding and indie comics. And quite frankly, it's a false dialectic to this idea of in-store indie versus crowdfunder indie. The only thing I could think of is maybe price difference, which I would agree with. Some crowdfunding books do cost more.
Tizo's
and I try to
out right here as well. It's the overpriced. But
and that's fine. I mean, that's why we try to give as much possible as much people as we can. I think our first book was $20 or $25, but it was 200 pages, and we included posters and we included something else. And yet, yeah, some people are greedy, some people are stupid, some people overcharge things, and whatever. But the whole point is that the problem with democratizing anything is that you're going to get a ton of slop, but you're also going to get some gems that were overlooked by everybody else. That's just the nature of the beast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the other thing too is I don't think it's, in my opinion, fair to say overpriced, even if it's inferior, because again, retail indie comics, these publishers, they have purchasing power, they have leverage that us normal people do not have. We have to do tiny print runs. Obviously we're not getting any sweet deals on art or anything of that nature, so we're very limited. And so,
I am.
Of course, things are gonna to be more expensive. And the other layer to it is, there's a big difference between someone that can draw their own comic and a writer that has to foot the entire bill. So every creator's got to try to recoup their costs, and yeah, it does depend on the page limit and all that. And I still believe, hey, if it's 48 pages plus, $25 is fair if the art is good. Now, if you're, paying someone, $50 a page and the art quality is really bad, you shouldn't be charging that $25 a book for a 48-page book. But if it's high quality art and you've invested in good lettering, good coloring, I think that is fair. And it's kind of common sense why it's going to be more expensive than retail.
Yeah, I think there's a good justification, but I do sympathize with the customer. So it's like,
sure.
They still now, so it's funny because the backer psychology is way different from general like customer psychology, because customers say, what am I getting and what do I have to give to get it? And then whatever, right? But backer psychology, they want to do something good for something they see as, a worthwhile, endeavor, right? So they want to give, they're willing to pay extra money if they believe in the project, believe in the creator, and, they want to see something like they're contributing rather than just what am I getting? So when you're at an LCS, it's full of people who are saying, what am I getting? How little can I give to get that? And then, when you're on Kickstarter, it's either a bunch of people who want booby books, which fine, you can do what you want, or it's a bunch of people who want to contribute. And so they're willing to give more, and they understand they only sold 200 books, right? While Image has these smaller ones that are selling thousands of books, and so they can sell them for less and recoup their overhead.
And they're not necessarily selling to customers; they're selling to stores who have to buy them.
Right. Yeah, and that's that too, which is that's an interesting conversation on its own. But over time, they'll, if it's not making money for the stores, I think they stop buying, right? So it's like they'll cut off a series after 5 issues if it's just really doing poorly, even if they're making their money. I don't know this for a fact. That's my feeling, because they don't want to have horrible relationships with the LCSs. But so it is just a different psychology. So, but from a general customer's perspective, I could see why you would call it overpriced, because a lot of the times, yeah, for what you're getting, you are paying more. But if you look at it from the backer perspective, they want to contribute to a project. And
Right.
not to go off too far on this, but I not too long ago I was on a podcast and I was telling everyone like, hey, you can get a really good deal if you go reserve the book here, blah blah blah.
Mhm.
And they were like, well, what if I want to pay full price? I'm like, what? What? And they're like, yeah, what if I want to contribute more to it? And I'm like, well, shoot, I guess if you really want to, then you can.
You said, "Get out of here, commie."
Yeah, get out of here, you commie. You want to contribute to a worthwhile endeavor? What the fuck?
Well, and that's that's a whole other factor, right? Is crowdfunding isn't just buying and selling.
Yeah.
It's not like normal publishing by any means. I mean, these people are trying to be able to afford enough to make it happen. It's not guaranteed that they'll be able to afford to even make the book happen, which is why a lot of campaigns don't fund and then the money gets refunded. So yes, there is that element too, which there's a scale as well as how much are they backing because of interest versus is part of it sympathy, is part of it interest, right? There's a lot to it,
Mhm.
but I kind of view indie crowdfunders like I would view people at a selling at a farmer's market.
Yeah.
They're doing it the hard way. They're doing it in small quantities and they're just trying to see if they can survive doing it and grow. And so it's a lot more complicated than just saying, oh, they're too expensive or this or that. It's very layered. It's very situational. But before I even did my crowdfunder, I had some natural kind of empathy for crowdfunders because I view it as, hey, this is like a small business that is just trying to survive, and they have a dream of making this happen.
Yeah.
And I think everyone deserves that chance, especially if their product looks good. Everyone, it's free market. Everyone has that right to put it out there. And I think if stuff looks good or if it's something that you believe some of your friends or your followers could be interested in, there's no harm in sharing and seeing if you can contribute in a way.
And I'll push back on some of the comments here. I haven't read Hyde Street, but the other Ghost Machine stories I have read were not good. I didn't like Geiger, however you say it. I tried Rook Exodus. I found both of them to be very much lacking. What I've read of Roy Beckwith was better.
I appreciate that.
I wouldn't get up here and say that. I don't know. Every time I try to pick up any image book, like the dollar bin, like the reprints, I end up just throwing it in the trash. It's these like a ton of these books are not good, but these are like 20 talking points I'm bringing out now. Yeah, there's a lot of crap in indie comics. There's a lot of crap everywhere. Again, going back to music,
yeah.
I mean, anything, any art form, 99.99% of it does suck. And
even if you go
that's
back to
a good point.
when Stan Lee was running Marvel,
yeah,
they were pumping out so many books that nobody even fucking remembers now because they were not good, and that they remember the ones that were particularly good.
Yep.
And
Movies
that's
the
just
same
how it
way.
is.
Music's the same
exactly.
way. Yeah.
Exactly. And I find myself thinking, oh, movies used to be way better. But then I realize how many movies have been made and how many that I've never heard of because they sucked and nobody, is talking about them now.
Well, you know what would solve a lot of this? And again, it's going back to music is these fights and ideas do not exist in music because Napster killed music.
Yeah.
To be a musician now is to put your stuff out for free, and no one has the quality argument anymore. And people just buy what they want to buy and they shut up. But I'm not defending that model because I've been in both of these worlds and it is way cheaper to make music. I can make music for free tonight. And
Same.
yeah, it is much harder. I think we're all writers here. None of us can make
Mhm.
comics by ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've been trying. You know the duck one, Dan.
Yeah,
I've been working on, getting my art going, trying to do that one. I don't know. I'm not as
I
good
can
at
only
drawing.
draw geographic patterns.
Yeah, I can only do octahedrons. Anyway, and hypercubes, but
So
yes.
let's pull up the tweet that I guess triggered the conversation. So, and I've made these points in the past, whether it's on Twitter, YouTube videos, streams. So it's not like this is anything new coming from me. It's just over the last 5 years since I've joined the space, I just see it again, a depletion in funds and a depletion in promotion. And I do think they coincide with one another. You also have to take into the account the state of our shitty economy, inflation, all of those
No, man,
things.
burritos should be $20.
Oh gosh, that's a whole nother stream. Jeez. Oh gosh, don't get me started on those conservative influencers. Conservative. Yeah. Um, but I think especially in the factions, the lack of promotion is hurting everyone, regardless of if they're a pro, not a pro, whatever. And I do especially believe that some of those hidden gems, in my opinion, where the books look really good and they should be
Mhm.
funding a lot higher, are suffering the most because of this. And one of the examples I'll give, and we'll look at the campaign and we'll see what you think, Nick. For example, I don't know if you've seen it yet, is Patrick Quinlan's River of Blood.
Yeah, it looks great.
Professional looking art, phenomenal covers. Like it's a unique concept. Everything is unique about it compared to the rest of indie comics. But outside of a couple channels, he's just hasn't gotten a lot of eyeballs and a lot of promotion. And I think that's one that people should be promoting because you should want the quality books to be seen. And for the CG in specific, from a faction standpoint, right? You want to show all the haters and the agitators, hey, look, we funded this project. Look at all the money it made. Look at how good it looks. Because if those people get a sense that they're winning because of the lack of funding or lack of quality in their opinions, well, you're letting them win by not highlighting results or winning in a sense. So what I said here was until creators start promoting each other's campaigns and channels again, the impression that crowdfunding is on the decline for indies will continue. If you want to counter those rooting for some indies to lose and prove them wrong, indie crowdfunding campaigns need to be injected with funding like in the past. So obviously referring to like 2022 and before, where there's a ton of folks raising 20, 30, 50, even $100,000. And there are always multiple campaigns that you could back that had a lot of funding. It's not the case now. I said this isn't going to happen without alignment or collaboration.
Mhm.
Folks can either contribute to the decline or they can contribute to revitalizing the space. So obviously you don't want to write a novel in Twitter, so you can't put every thought in there. But one of the amendments that I would make to this is I think this is outside of those factions and within. The comment regarding the alignment and collaboration is specific to a faction like CG. I do think they need to do a better job of aligning, like, hey, this is when people are launching their campaigns. Let's make sure we're not launching over each other. And when you do launch, hey, let's create a schedule. Let's make sure that everybody, that like a known campaign, for example, let's say an ex pro, let's make sure that he gets to visit all these big channels, right? Let's make an event when a book launches so that they can hit the ground running. That to me would inject those funds into those crowdfunders because all of their audiences on all those channels would see it and get to decide whether or not they want to back it. But it's a guarantee that they're going to get more funds going through that route than not going on any channels and just like streaming on their own, for example. So that's more the comment where I think in the past, CG, for example, had a lot more alignment. There was just a lot more enthusiasm, collaboration, like open doors for promotions. And I've even seen big campaigns, such as the Pit campaign, um, the trade paperback of that. To me, that one, they should have been on every big channel. There should have been a huge launch stream, jumping from stream to stream to stream, because that property in Dale's name alone is massive, uh, from an indie perspective. But I didn't see that kind of push and alignment on that. And it's like, well, if it's not going to happen on a book like that, that doesn't give you a lot of confidence that's going to happen in general. And that campaign should have raised more funds, not because it lacks quality. I mean, it's Dale Keown art, and Pitt, in my opinion, is fantastic. It's just because I don't think there was a big push to make it raise more money.
Yeah, I think that something that may be infecting a lot of the space is this idea of, there's this old idea about how you can either have a competitive mindset or a creative mindset. And if you have a competitive mindset, then you're limiting yourself to a set of resources that is finite. But if you have a creative mindset, then you are unlimited in your resources. And so I feel like that's kind of what's happening with a lot of people in the space, is they think, I'm competing with these people for the customer's finite amount of dollars, right? And so it's just not the case, though. Like you kind of need to open your mind a little bit and, be willing to not necessarily like talk up everybody's stuff, but you can't be afraid that if you promote, say, yeah, exactly. Like if you say, look how cool the Pit trade paperback looks, you can't be afraid that then someone's going to take their money. Someone that follows you is going to take their money and spend it there. And now they won't be able to spend money on yours.
Right. And
can't be afraid of that.
I do think that's something that is lingering with some creators. I think that's always been the case. But the thing is, no single creator, for the most part, is releasing a monthly comic or a comic every 2 months or 3 months, right? They're launching typically 1 to 2 max a year. So it's highly unlikely that if someone else, one of your backers goes and backs another campaign at any point throughout the rest of the year, that's going to affect them backing your campaign. If anything, it just gives them something to read in the meantime while they wait for yours. And it also, to me, almost shows a lack of confidence. Like, you should be so confident in your project that you're like, hey, you know what? My backers are going to back me no matter what, because I know my book is that good. And I think to what you were alluding to is like, okay, but if I bring this person on my channel, promote them, okay, they get, the eyes of my audience. But then if I get the eyes of their audience, I might be if someone's afraid to lose a couple backers here, but you might gain 5 or 10 backers by having your stuff seen by their audience. And that's where, again, that cross-pollination can occur in terms of backing.
Right. And if they're like truly a fan, like they'll make sure they get your book,
Exactly. Yep.
Like, I'll put it on my credit card. It'll be fine. Like I'll pay it off next paycheck or whatever. Even though, yeah, you're right. It's like no one's putting books out that all the time. So most of the time it probably isn't even a competition, but I just feel like people treat it that way. Right. Needlessly, they treat it like a competition. But
and in the past, there were like 10, 20 new campaigns at a time. So I could understand why at any given point, yeah, backers may only be able to back a couple, but the audience was so large that it kind of didn't matter. Whereas now, I mean, you can't even think of a lot of active campaigns at the moment. You just see a launch here and there. So it's not like there's an overwhelming supply of crowdfunding campaigns, at least in this sphere or CG, for example, to where I don't think that's even a concern, honestly. And it's not like creators are increasing their prices either. You know, inflation is obviously quite nasty right now, but most creators are keeping their prices steady because they don't want to outprice themselves or make their backers feel burned by any sense.
Mhm.
So there's that to take into consideration.
I do feel like whoever weathers the storm, like they're gonna come out the other side, and then everyone else is gonna have to start over. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Yeah.
That's how these
But-
waves go. You got to catch the next one earlier.
So I'd have to ask, what other sphere is there? I mean, that's just indie, unless you're referring to retail publishers.
Mhm.
But then again, yeah, we're just referring to crowdfunding because that's what we do. We're not doing, indie publishers.
Yeah, I'd have to say, yeah, we are kind of just looking at the crowdfunding space. We're not necessarily looking, at Image, or some people say Dark Horse isn't actually indie, or that there's a contention there, or whatever. We're not kind of looking there. We're looking at people who are actually like dependent only on the audience, not on
Right.
any other form of distribution, which would be crowdfunding. And then I'm sure there are some people out there who don't really crowdfund but are like indie, like on their websites. We're not really talking about them either, because I don't even know any of those people. I'm sure there are. So,
Yeah, the other thing is a lot of people too, they're going to crowdfund first before they even have an indie publisher put it into retailers, because let's be honest, if they're only making $1 per book at the local, comic book shop, and they sell 5,000, well, that's $5,000. That's not enough to recover most creators' expenses. So
Yeah.
they try to recoup the cost first and then publish.
yeah, you're not doing issue 2 off of that.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I mean, as far as, I don't know what everyone else is, paying for their artists, but
Nothing.
yeah, Dan pays nothing.
Well, that's
I-
great that you have a friend that does it with you. You know?
I give half of everything to him.
Yeah.
When I don't give it, like he owns it. Like we just
Yep.
do it together. But I love making that joke. It just pisses people off on Twitter. I'd be like, I don't pay my artists anything.
Yeah, and I would like to just, I'm not arguing with you, super Tizo. I'm just curious, like who are these
Yeah.
factions?
I think he's maybe
or
referring
these tiers,
to
sectors.
I think it's
CG
because
not using.
I mean, I use Kickstarter. Why wouldn't I use Kickstarter? Indiegogo sucks.
Yeah, and I think that's
I
mean
don't know
that's
what Dillard is.
fading. That it's the creator that did Yellow Flash's book, and how they made a deal, and
Oh yeah, man, that's
Yeah,
none of
that
my
whole thing.
business. I don't care. I don't even
Didn't
follow
he end
Yellow
up like
Flash.
publishing through Ripaverse though? Anyway, and
He
we've been
did,
talking
yeah.
about Ripaverse, so
Yep. And it didn't raise a ton of money in comparison to a lot of the CG books, but yeah, Kickstarter, I mean, more folks are using it, especially now that Indiegogo isn't great. But the thing is, and we've talked about this, Kickstarter, it's very hit or miss on if folks will get window shoppers.
Yep.
And CG has historically relied on the YouTube promotion. And so there really wasn't a huge benefit of doing Kickstarter. And I think if most of them would have launched, and we've seen some actually, some of the ex-pros do a Kickstarter on the side, and they'll maybe make an extra 5% on there. So not much. It's still something, but I think now it may be more of a realistic option. And then there's also going to be Back Me Bro, which again, maybe that'll spur more, promotion interfaction. But like, I'm going to put one of my signups on Kickstarter. I want to do it more of an experiment to see, like, okay, how many signups do I get organically over here on Kickstarter? How many do I get over here, through CG or my existing audience?
that's a
see what
hard
happens.
split test to run, dude. The data on that's going to be impossible.
Yeah.
No, I went with Kickstarter, and I'm sticking with it because they statistically have the largest like active backer audience for comic books, like specifically. I don't think Fund My Comic is anywhere near that.
No. Yeah.
And
No,
I
but they
mean,
do have a dedicated niche if you
They
like
do,
of backers, if you can get into it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry to interrupt.
exactly. No, it's good. And Indiegogo is not as large either, but yeah, obviously they're having their problems right now. It's making it harder for everybody, especially the people who don't finish their comic book. But you know, it's Kickstarter for me just makes the most sense, and they do have a very good discoverability. What you need is like a really well structured campaign that converts window shoppers, right? So if someone sees your thumbnail, they're likely to click it, and then they're likely to back the book. Then Kickstarter sees that and goes, oh, let's push this to as many people as possible then. But if, you know, they click it and then they're like, not for me, and then they get out of there, or God forbid they don't even click it, which is a high likelihood as well, then Kickstarter sees that and goes, oh yeah, we're not going to waste our window space with this campaign. We're going to put this other one that's actually, you know, converts well, because they want people to buy stuff, because that's where they make their money, right? So it's I don't know, that I'm sure the same goes for Indiegogo. I know Fund My Comic doesn't work that way. It doesn't really work that way. Their algorithms aren't super like honed in or anything like that. So you know, I'm sticking with Kickstarter. I just have to make better campaigns. My last campaign didn't convert as highly as I would have liked, so I'm just looking at that. I don't know. You know, I tend to look at myself for things that I could have done better before I look anywhere else. You know, am I on the wrong platform, or you know, whatever it is. So I'm sticking with Kickstarter until I find out that it's the platform's fault, not mine.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, a lot of the responses on here were either like, yeah, they agreed in terms of it's a good idea to promote. That was kind of the general consensus there. Also, call outs, which I liked, like, hey, I see all these people who have been consistently promoting, so that's nice to see as well. In case people aren't aware of them, then hopefully they'll get some subs and potentially some backers eventually.
Oh, there's Justin.
Yep, you do have some comments in regards to, you know, the economy, late fulfilling. You know, again, you know, I wish I could have put all of my thoughts in the tweet, but yeah, some of this stuff, you know, again, I definitely agree to a lot of this stuff. And then you have a typical agitator popping in. They're going to do a quick stream about me. Oh no, that was laughable. Let's see. And then, I mean, some people, I mean, they really gave a lot of feedback, which was really cool too, because there are people that are passionate about the space and the topic as well. So it's very cool to see people put their thoughts out there in regards to it.
What a well thought out, but not very trimmed response that is. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely had some good points in here. So I recommend folks going through the thread. There's definitely a lot of good thoughts here from people. And then, yeah, you have yeah, I don't like to entertain the agitators, but sometimes you can't help it. It's just funny. But you do get comments like this where they say like, "Oh, so sad for you," basically implying that you needed handouts, but this person, Niobe, did not. When I know he actually has done a lot of promoting on other people's channels, and that's how he raised funds initially. And his funds have been going down year over year over year. And many of his campaigns performed worse than my first and only campaign, which were novels. So it's kind of ironic when, yeah, some of these people come in to trash talk, and it's quite obvious why they're doing it. And I think a lot of times it's that they wish that they were getting the attention or promotion that you're recommending the space give to one another. It's like, I don't know how you could view my post as aggressive or an enemy thought. Or it's like, hey, I'm saying I want campaigns to make more money. I want people to be successful so they can do what they want to do.
I think people just need to work
weird.
more.
Yeah, work more. Yeah, I do think it's just funny though.
Yeah.
You know, no, go ahead, Dan.
No, I was just saying, like, when I see creators like beefing and bitching, It's like, bro, go make something. Like, if you put out a comic, go make a prose thing to go with it. Go make a short film. Shut up. Sorry.
No, yeah, no, I find it weird that, like, I mean, if you share the sentiment, like, that you want your campaign to do better, or just campaigns in general to do better, why would you come in with and attack someone who shares that sentiment but might have a different idea of how to get it done, right? So, like, why would you come
Well,
in and then do personal attacks on them? I don't understand.
well, and that one is because he has an issue with a faction, with CG, and he's doing exactly what we talked about earlier of he doesn't like some of the guys at the per se top, and so he's taking shots at someone at a lower level in terms of funding and whatnot, thinking like he's going after the entire faction. Before he started doing that, I ironically would retweet him. We had a mutual friend, so like he was one of those people that wasn't CG, and I still retweeted and would have promoted. But they get so like anti-faction or pro-faction this that they go off the deep end, and they don't realize that normal backers, let's say a normal backer saw the guy's art, was like, oh, I like Bad Girl comics, where a pigtailed chick has a dust mask, like, holy creativity, Batman, I'm gonna check out their campaign. But then they see how they act and treat other people, that alone could lose them backers.
Yeah, it could.
That's what's wild about some people's approaches, that they act like teenage bullies, and then they don't understand that's like, hey, you're actually pushing backers away potentially. Like, there's a very good chance you're doing that.
Yeah. I just I love that gif, but
I know. I love Always Sunny.
Yeah, that one's a classic. But I don't know. It's weird, all this like faction fighting. It's like, what are we doing? Like, that's just what I don't understand, because like I'm newer, right? So I'd kind of heard of the Rippaverse and I'd heard of Comicsgate, and then when I came into the space, like I didn't really know any of the history behind any of the factions. It's just really weird to me. Like, aren't we all like trying to tell stories in comics, and we all care about good storytelling in comics, right? Is that like why we're here? Right. And that's like seems to be the case, is that a lot of people actually don't really care. They would rather like pick fights with each other for almost no reason.
Yeah, and this quote tweet it's the exact same case as the previous one, which is funny because these two people, they go from loving each other and going after people together to making like hate streams and videos against one another, and then they keep those videos up and then they become friends again, and it's like, it's this whole
this
like,
guy
oh, enemy
blocked
of my enemy,
I'm sorry.
This guy blocked
it's
me
the
last time I
funniest-
started.
I'm sorry. That's
When all the
funniest
when all the
thing,
titty
dude.
book stuff went down, this guy blocked me. I know.
Oh,
okay, I
really?
remember this. Yeah,
Okay,
I think I blocked his wife because she wouldn't like stop commenting.
Oh,
he
I
had,
think
like,
I
already
remember
blocked
this
me.
guy. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
him. I don't know. It's just like, this is the funniest. This is the funniest thing to say ever. I think it's hilarious.
Well, I love how he has a nice, and I used nice in a ironic sense, but like
Yeah.
a touch of racism in the tweet, of course. But what's so hilarious? All right, he's saying, "Oh, you're the welfare system of CG." He literally just hired EVS to do a cover. He was trying to hire Shane Davis to do a cover. He got, he didn't get rejected on one of them. The other he did. And, he's trying to get CG people to use his site, trying to get him to use his like lettering app or all these different things so he can make money off
A
of them.
lettering app? What are you talking about?
Yeah, he's like
He must
creating
have
some.
vibe coded an app.
I gotta hear this.
Yeah.
Please tell me this story.
I didn't look into the details. I just saw he posted something about some, I don't know if it's AI or something that can like letter comics for you. And it's like, oh yeah, let's
call it a
take more
keyboard.
humans out of the equation. Well, and it's also the least expensive portion of the process, you know, like
I can let her comics.
right.
Yeah, I letter my book.
It's so funny because he's trying to make money off CG. He's trying to like cozy up to it, and then he's also attacking the people in it and that, you know, interact with it at the same time. And it's just like it's like this is so embarrassing. I mean, good luck getting new backers with this type of attitude.
Yeah, that's actually insane that, like, you know, you can think that way if you want about like welfare. You can think that way if you want. That's
He
fine.
said welfare.
But to like
That was the most political answer I've ever heard.
well, I mean,
You just
you
create
know,
the new euphemism about ... welfare.
you know, but you can think that way, but it's just wild to me that as a creator who's trying to like get anyone and everyone hopefully to like buy and read your stuff, it's like, what are you like being so divisive for, bro? Like you just like took half of Twitter and just told them to block you.
Yeah, this is like the drug. This is like the drug dealer on the side of the street, like flinging crap at you. Like, bro, like I thought you wanted to buy from you.
and it's always people like this that have to try to like make themselves look important because like there's so desperation for recognition and to be put on a pedestal because they believe they haven't gotten the attention that they deserve or like, oh, I've raised this much funds, so that means I'm like up in the hierarchy. You know, we won't talk about quality or the actual content, or the fact that a lot of the content has to be covered up in the Kickstarter preview, literally covered up. But you know, they always go to the I outsell you or I raise more money than you, and they've always also done the same thing. I make more money as you, like as a living person, and it's like
Then
you
why do you
do
care?
realize that most people have day jobs in this space and you have no idea what they make. And we can see how much money you raise and we understand that you're only making a percentage of that. So someone with common sense could allude that you're actually not like rolling in dough by any means. And it's like you're also a two-person team doing this full time. It's like you shouldn't be bragging.
It's just funny to me that like, hey, I'm so amazing, so I'm gonna waste a bunch of my time shitting on you. You know what I mean? I'm so much better than you, but I'm gonna spend my time like showing everyone that you're not as awesome as me. It's just, you know what I mean? That's like the classic, yeah, I guess like high school bully thing to do, right? It's like putting someone down to lift yourself up. It's like that's the silliest, most childlike behavior. If you're actually awesome, just be awesome. Just just let it go.
Yep, it's like let the work speak for itself, and you know that's whatever these people brag about, whatever they raise or this, that, and the other. I'm just like, I don't care. We'll see whose books are better, you know, when you can compare them side by side. But until that happens, it's like nothing you say means shit to me, and it's not going to have any impact on anyone else either. So, and this was another one that was interesting to dissect. So, and of course, she tried to find like every aspect of marketing and crowdfunding that, you know, I didn't take the space to break down in my tweet. But she says the impression that crowdfunding is on the decline exists in the CG space. It's not true. It's across the board, except for pros and large publishers that are using crowdfunding now because they caught on and they're inflating the numbers. So you can't really say how much of Kickstarter funds are actually like normal indies and which amount of funding is actually publishers and mainstream people using it. It says, you know, people can't promote themselves. Being promoted by people who don't know how to promote to people who don't buy books is not going to help that. That's a mouthful there. I'm pretty sure people watching a lot of these YouTube streams do back books. They wouldn't be watching crowdfunders on YouTube if they didn't back books. And none of these crowdfunding folks that are raising good funds wouldn't be raising the money they are if it weren't for their YouTube audiences or their following on Twitter. Relying on YouTube or X for promotion is a dead end. Clearly, that's not true, and a lot of the CG folks have proven that. I mean, even me, yeah, I didn't raise $30,000-$50,000, but I had a successful campaign that was solely because of YouTube and X. 100% YouTube and X. That's it. So if I wouldn't have reached out to people for promotion, if I wouldn't have cross promoted or taken those avenues, I wouldn't have funded my books at all and they wouldn't have happened. And I think that's the same for a lot of folks out there. He says you need to be at cons, growing a mailing list, have a good website with a real SEO so people can find you on a Google search or buy targeted ads, which that makes me laugh. Like, yeah, before you've raised any money, let's go spend money on targeted ads. Because targeted ads have, made us all buy so many things on Twitter or Facebook. There's so much that CG doesn't do for themselves. So to break that down, growing a mailing list is literally fucking part of crowdfunding. It's called the sign up page. So we can cross that out because everyone is doing that does crowdfunding. And cons, well, that one, it's situational. Everyone would love to do a bunch of cons, but there is a cost aspect to it. If you're a new creator that has not published the book yet or fully created it, of course you're not going to get a table at a crowdfunder, pay a bunch of money for that.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to pay for, gas. You're not going to pay for a hotel, like if it's a multi-day event outside of your state. Yes, you could go as just a regular, audience member or whatever and go through and hand out flyers, but I don't think that's really going to build your mailing list to a great extent. But I think people that can go to cons, they go to cons and they are doing all of these things. But even if you do have books, conventions are not cheap. A lot of them, you're talking $300, $400, $500.
Mhm.
And that's assuming you have one in your area. A lot of these cons are in big cities or outside of your state. I mean, especially if you live like somewhere like Nebraska or Idaho, right? So you're going to have to drop $1,000 plus just to make that con happen. And that doesn't count the cost to print all of your books, marketing material. You got to invest a lot of money. But no matter what, you first have to make a product or a book happen, which requires crowdfunding. That comes first. A lot of this stuff comes second. But again, mailing list is part of it. I mean, an SEO and targeted ads, again, ain't going to do much of anything. I don't know of anyone that has no name recognition, no connections, that had a successful campaign because they bought targeted ads. So
SEO, I'd say, is like, yeah, that's a weak example. But as far as ads go, I do know some people who have gotten 100 or so followers on their campaign from that. And to the point about cons, so I did a local arts festival, and I got 43 reservations from that from that event, which like I had 10 when I started, you know what I mean? So like it's definitely worth it, but I mean, I know not everyone can do it, and that's kind of the point you're making, but I just wanted to say like that stuff does work. And if you don't have your book printed, it's like if you're not on issue 2 like I am, it's like yeah, that's you can't really go to a con. So yeah, I can get both sides on this one.
Yeah, I mean the other thing is, yes, mailing lists can work to an extent, but I mean I think a lot of people can admit that when they go to their email and they get an advertisement for anything, it's getting like drowned out with 50 plus other emails, and the likelihood that it's going to hit and result in a sale, I don't think is extremely high. Especially if you're getting a bunch from a bunch of different campaigns. But again, if you have a sign-up list, you're of course going to export that list and have a mailing list. And if you're at a con or something, you're going to get people's emails.
And most
Kinda
people,
common sense.
most people from their campaigns as well, they they collect emails from those people and ask permission.
Right.
So like, just by virtue of crowdfunding, hopefully you're not wasting the opportunity and you're getting people's emails so that you can market to them. Yeah. So I do think that is just an obvious part of it. I don't think that in your tweet you were saying that you shouldn't have to build an email list. You should
Right.
just be able to promote each other.
Yeah, I was staying on one topic. Like I made it singular to promotion, in relation to crowdfunding. It was not about marketing or the overall strategy and how to have a successful crowdfunder, because we all know there's several aspects and factors that tie into that.
Mhm.
And not to think laterally here or be mean, I don't know who this person is, but I don't think they're like worth engaging with.
No, it's true.
That didn't seem like good faith, honestly. It
Nope.
seemed like somebody trying to pick apart what you said because I guess they don't like you.
They don't like the faction. They don't like some of the people in that faction. So every chance they get to try to talk down to or instigate with folks in that faction or whatnot, they take it. Because again, they think they're taking down the man or whatever. And again, her in particular, she's not even a creator. She's just someone that commentates. So she's really no better than most of these film critics, fake critics out there. So, and the other ones are creators that just like to create drama, and they think that drama is gonna give them leads and backers, but I don't think it is.
I get accused of drama farming, dude, all the time.
Bro,
Well,
you're like
just because you have
one person
opinions.
who has like no mention at all of drama farming. That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I've never seen you drama farm.
I just say my opinion sometimes, and then my post
About
blows up.
welfare.
No, about all the black people on welfare. Yeah. I can't believe he said that, dude.
Just out of pocket.
Oh, I can.
Unsolicited opinion.
Yeah, that's like we're not. I don't know. That's so off topic, and it's like he's clearly trying to appeal to a certain audience, which is fine. But it's like, I don't know, whatever.
Which is fine.
You can do that if you want, but it's like, I don't know. I'm of the opinion that like if you have a certain like ideology, you could say, then you kind of want other people to experience that side of the fence a little bit. And so you could do that with like the natural like way that when you tell a story, how your ideology just naturally comes out in it. But if you do what he just did, then he's just deleted the opportunity for anyone. He's not changing anyone's mind with his story. Let's just say, like, that's what I mean to say, because everyone who's going to read whatever he's putting out, they have to agree with him or they would have blocked him. They already agree with him. So it's just like, I don't know. It's like, come on, dude. You're just killing half of your potential audience. Like, what are you thinking? I don't know. He can do what he wants.
It's funny because a lot of the haters of factions become their own faction in themselves, and a lot of times their criticism towards that faction should just be applied right back on themselves.
Yeah. It's just funny.
Cole King, hey, great to see you, dude. Number one guy over here. He made a good point about the convention audience and the crowdfunding audience. Crowdfunding audiences are not the same. There is as much crossover there as you think. I mean, that's absolutely true. But 90% of convention audience is people wanting to buy a Deadpool plushie and like a Demon Hunter shirt, and whatever, that's their thing. But my advice, for what it's worth or whatever, is crowdfunding pays for the printing that you can take to convention to sell.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And I don't know, like you can get someone to go follow your campaign if they bought your book, and then, or like give you their email. That's what I did. So it's like anyone who bought the book bought issue 1, I was like, oh, and we're doing, reservations. I just need your email and your phone number and your name and everything. And so now I have
mailing list.
Boom, exactly, a mailing list, right? And so it's pretty easy to convert someone after they've already they've agreed to buy the book. It's pretty easy to then convert them to a reservation.
Like the Trail of Tears?
What?
Like the Trail of Tears.
I am not sure how that applies. Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth, Dan.
I'm just trying to promote Roy, man.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like the Trail of Tears on Exodus Day. Yeah. Anyway. But yeah, Cole's a great guy, though.
I mean, his campaign. Yeah, let's see. He said that targeted ads worked for Kickstarter if you do them right. I mean, I'd be interested to see.
Okay, there we go. Now I
a
don't have to
little-
pretend it wasn't him that I was talking
a little
about.
tutorial on how you approach that, because I think he's just shy of 500 followers on Kickstarter, which
and it looks
I mean
great.
that's massive.
I know, I'm about to hire him, dude.
So definitely interested to see what his approach was, because that's the type of stuff that folks need to learn. If there's a certain way to do it or place to do some of these aspects, it's good.
I think he said it was talking about welfare.
Yeah, it was well.
Yeah, I'm sure that helped a lot.
That's how you do it.
Racism.
Are you on welfare? Do you have extra money to spend? Well,
buy my book.
Come over
Hi, are
here.
are you a fellow racist? Oh, great. Come check out my comic.
Oh, there you go.
Well, where can I buy said comic?
So yeah. No, Cole. Yeah, that's who I was talking about. Actually,
Yeah, Cole's great, man.
So
and his book looks super high quality. I mean, the team on there. I mean, that's a great example right there. That
we all got to have him
on some channels. Yeah, I'll definitely bring him on if he's open to it. I mean, that's a good example of someone that's doing it right.
He was on Crenshaw not that long ago.
Nice.
So yeah, Crenshaw's a great guy.
Crenshaw's nice, yeah.
But yeah, Cole is killing it. And most of his stuff, by the way, most of his followers, I just want to point out, are not from paid ads. Most of it's organic. But the thing that happens is when you're pushing on Twitter, go follow this, go follow my campaign. And then you're also on the side, you're running ads and people are going and following your campaign. Then Kickstarter says, wow, people are really following the shit out of this. Let's see if other people like it.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. And so a lot of his stuff is organic, a lot of it's paid ads, and then a lot of it is the organic traffic as a result of the organic and paid ads combined, right? He's really smart. I told him he was verging on a marketing genius recently, because he kind of is. He's verging.
It seems like he's taken the approach too of having a lengthy sign up phase, which that's something I'm going to be doing. That's what I did for my novels. I think I had a sign up phase for 8 months to try to accumulate as much as possible. There's some people that they're like, oh, I'll just do the sign up page for a month and try to get 100 followers. And it's like, I mean, geez, as soon as you have some art, just start the sign up. You might as well accumulate that list as much as possible. And if there's a chance that you can get some organic window shoppers to be followers, it's better to accumulate those then versus when you just have that 2-month window. That's very short in reality to hit your goal.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's probably what we're doing with Man of Blood. I just went ahead and made the sign up page. Well, I think it used to, I could be wrong, but I think one of them, Indiegogo, would only let you have a sign up page or a PV page for so long. Maybe 30 to 60 days. I could be wrong, but with this one, we usually do a 30-day sign up and then a 60-day campaign. But I think with Man of Blood, we're gonna probably push that sign up page out because it just seems like a better idea,
Yeah, I'm curious I didn't know. I know for Indiegogo, it could be as long as you wanted. I don't know about now if it's any different, but yeah, I got to do some research to see for Kickstarter if there is a time limit on it.
No, bro, mine's been going since the end of my last campaign, so it's since
nice.
October. Yeah,
okay, good.
I think you could do it indefinitely on Kickstarter. On
Good.
Indiegogo, I have no idea. I have no experience. Yeah. It's like you should. And people have asked my advice before, and like they're like, hey, I all I have is this ink of one of the covers, and I don't want to do it yet. I'm like, no, do it. Like,
Mhm.
go ahead, do it.
It
That's all
can't
I
hurt.
had for the longest time. Yeah, I just had an inked cover and then
Mhm.
some copy, just some words about it, convincing people to go and hit the follow button. That was my first campaign. I only ended up with 79 because like I didn't know how to push it exactly. But yeah, now I've been pushing reservations, so now I only have 50. Now I'm like, I need to push more follows.
Mm.
But yeah, so do it as soon as possible. There's absolutely no reason not to. I would say you want to have targeted bursts as well as a little bit of a trickle if you
Mhm.
can, but I would go with targeted bursts. I think that's something that I've missed out on. If you can get a bunch of people following it and all in like the same like week,
Mm.
then Kickstarter goes, oh, look at that. People are following this. Let's push it out. Let's
Mhm.
let's show it to more people. But if you just have like one a week for a year, then they're less inclined. Their algorithm's not going to really push it.
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't know, a lot of stuff about crowdfunding and not necessarily about promoting each other, but
Well, actually, you guys both have sign-up pages, so let's share them.
that is true.
Yeah, go ahead and pull them up or hit the present, and then yeah, I'll let you guys drive and talk about each of your sign-up pages. Let's try to get some followers.
You first, Dan.
All right. I was going to say you first, Nick, but you quick drawed me.
Yeah, I
You guys are
did.
too polite,
Yeah, right. I thought
Where's
we were
that
drama
dickhead
farming.
energy,
Yeah, right. I save it all for Twitter and theological debates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's
We
going to
gotta
ask for the
have one
wealth?
still.
I mean, I
What's
guess I
that?
should have said I should have said who wants the welfare first, but I'm not.
Yeah,
gonna-
who wants the
I'm
welfare?
good.
Well, being Irish, I will.
Yeah.
There you go.
Uh,
I'll have to hit up Cole and be like, "Hey, Cole, how you market so good? Love Dan."
Love Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to be part of that as well. Yeah.
I've been seriously, I've been talking to him a little bit. He's busy, but he knows what he's doing. I don't know. He's been around since last year around this time. He was out, he didn't even have a book ready yet, and he's just out in the space talking to everybody, retweeting that people's stuff, getting hype on other people's campaigns. So it's just great to see him doing his book now, and it preemptively doing so well. He has a lot of pre-launch followers, but that means it'll do well anyway.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, even if he can capture half of those, that's still a really good campaign.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So all right, Dan, let's go ahead and give us your pitch on Man of Blood.
All right. Man of Blood is a honest but brutal telling of the rise and reign of King David, the biblical narrative. We lean in very much to the mythological side of things. I mean, trying to present it, it's exciting, and it's kind of like 300 meets the King David story. But the overall content will be PG-13 to R, no nudity or swearing, anything like the text is biblical text for 99% of it. But we really lean on the violent side and the violent nature of that world at the time. It's a world that's very far away from us. It's almost pagan in that regard, like the way that they would sacrifice goats, sacrifice sheep, the way they would appeal to God by rolling bones or rolling, bits of stone. There's witches, there's giants. We try to treat the mythology in the proper sense, the way it should be treated. Like the people that lived at the time said, yeah, these people were witches. Yeah, this man was a giant, and go from there. And it's people know the story of David and Goliath, but most people really don't know the story of David, and his life is just literally covered in blood. All of his problems are answered by violence. And the most interesting part for us is the biggest problems in his life come from when he's not violent. people know the story of Bathsheba. He sees a woman bathing on a rooftop. He has her brought to him. He sleeps with her. He kills her husband by sending him to the front line. That only happened because he was wounded in battle previously by Goliath's brothers. And his men said, you can't come to battle with us anymore. You're going to stay home. And then when his son, one of his sons, rapes one of his daughters, David refuses to kill him because it's his son. And it's a hard decision for him. Well, his other son, Absalom, says, well, I'll kill him. He kills him. And now now David has a civil war because his son Absalom is dividing the kingdom. Well, David says, I don't want to kill my son Absalom. So Joab, his general, kills him. And now Joab has more sway over the kingdom than David does, and he chooses a successor that David doesn't want. David chooses Solomon. The last words David says to his son Solomon is, you have to kill Joab. All that to say, this world is just something that is not explored, especially in this nature, particularly in churches, particularly mostly by Christian groups. Like the world of David and the life of David is worthy of a comic book. And of course, there's a little bit of gravitas added. Like that's another part of the story people don't realize is that when David fled Saul, he took Goliath's sword that was hanging in the temple, and that's what is on the cover there. He was a larger than life character, whether again you believe it's true or you believe it's myth or a little bit of both. It doesn't matter. It's a wonderful story. And that's what we're doing. We're telling it over about 6 to 8 issues. It's going to be his entire life. And it's going to be told in a way that you've never seen and you will never forget.
Very cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is a fantastic cover, by the way.
Josh is a fantastic artist. Does everything himself.
Yeah, I mean I love the titles, the lettering. I mean everything just is just really neat and clean. And the paint splatter has such a great touch to it. Just blends in so nicely, especially with the lion. It's very cool.
Well, that's what we're going for, a very visceral feel. And the title Man of Blood actually comes from a character in the Bible who accuses David of that as David's on the run. It's a descendant of Saul's that calls him that because, David displaced Saul's titlehood and he took the kingdom from him, even though he didn't do it violently, strangely enough. And that name just sticks. And it's one of those things where it's an insult when he says it, but it's just true. And the main thing that we want to explore, and it's not a deconstruction by any means, but it is an examination, is the same man that slew so many people and warred so violently that his son had 40 years of peace, which is unheard of in the history of the world, much less at that time. Also wrote the Psalms where he's like on his face crying and he's afraid. And the recurring theme of him being a man of blood is God himself tells David, the sword will never leave your house. And when you're 15 and you're slaying a giant, that's awesome. When you're 40 and you have 100 wives and you're ruling a kingdom, that's an unbelievable burden. You know what I mean? So it's exciting for us. It's not a proselytizing tool. It's, hey man, how do you take this story that is this fascinating and make it so it's not Sunday school and just make it what it is? And this is how this story was read by the people of that time before it got sanitized.
Yeah. Very cool.
I'm particularly excited for this, Dan.
Yeah, I am too.
Appreciate it.
Obviously, we've talked about this a while ago, but
we're going to lean into some of that a little bit, some of the Nephilim side of Goliath and what people believed at the time of that,
Nice.
And this is our first time doing a 24-page floppy, and it'll be a floppy series. Just to say it, we talked a lot of smack about people, rightfully. We always finish our stuff. We finish our stuff before the campaign's over. Second the campaign's over, you get your book. You also get extra stuff because we always do that. And pricing, we're trying to do the best pricing we possibly can. It's going to be 24 pages. It'll probably be pricier than you find at your local comic book shop. I don't care. Like, I've got to price it in a way that I'm already not paying an artist, but in a way that we don't lose money, so we can make the second one because it's one guy doing all of the art himself.
Mhm.
He owns half the company. If it makes no money, he makes no money.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
there you go.
Do
People know the story of King David. Now you get to experience it in an awesome way.
Awesome.
Do you know how many installments it's going to be, or are you like playing that as you go?
We're
playing it
planning on
later?
6 to 8 issues, depending on how quickly Josh can get it out and how much, because we have its entire life and we're breaking it down, trying to do it the proper way, especially not to say trimming the fat, but making it linear and coherent. So
Yeah.
I would say 6, and if we want to extend it to 8, we can, but you want to make it as tight as possible so it punches and it hits. But if it does like really well, it's like, okay, well, if we have time to maybe explore some of the stranger side of things, like maybe some of the battles that are some of the minor battles that are mentioned, little things like that are kind of cool to add.
Yeah. So this isn't going to be like the movie from Angel Studios, right? It's not going to be like that.
No, and I didn't see it. I mean, but my kids aren't old enough to see it, and I'm too old to see it. And
Oh,
I got nothing against some of that. It was a little, it's for kids, and I get that again, but the story of David is not for kids.
yeah. They definitely sanitized it. I haven't seen it, but if it's for kids, then yeah, it's like
Yeah.
There were no
quite
foreskins being taken by David in it.
yeah, exactly.
For people who
They were
don't
all
know
in
that
yours?
story, you should look it up. It's fantastic.
Anyway,
VA's laughing. He knows that story.
All right, Nick. What do you got?
let me present. So I have issue 2 of a 64 issue Weird Western series that is centered around, I'm trying to pull it up and say stuff at the same time. Let me just do entire screen. Okay, boom. It's centered around Roy Beckwith. It's called Roy Beckwith and the Cursed Continent. He was a cavalry soldier during the Yavapai Wars and did some stuff he's not proud of. We don't find out exactly what that stuff he's not proud of is until this issue. So no spoilers there. But people are after him for revenge, and he's trying to make up for what he did because he's not happy about it. And as he comes into Claystown, which is this town that was founded on the slaughter of a different tribe, right? So there's a lot of, you could see what these themes are. He's wounded, and this man that we see here is still after him. And Clara, this girl who's now in danger, she's the one who found him. And so clearly she's being used to, to draw him out or whatever in this little image here, which is the cover for issue 2, the standard cover. But, you may have noticed I said 64 issues. So this is quite the epic, and it is pretty well planned out. I feel like a lot of people, if they heard that someone's gonna do an epic and it's gonna be this long running series, they'd think, well, is it actually planned out, or are you just thinking it's gonna be that long? How do you know it's that long? Well, as Dan knows, I do some crazy geometry to structure my stories. So that is how I know. And this is the cover for issue 8, actually. So this is how far ahead that, I've kind of planned this thing.
Cool.
Yes, we are that far ahead. Anyway, planned that far ahead.
Some great looking art on this. And who's your art team?
Yeah, so this is Jarrett Katz is the line artist. And for this cover and for issue 1, it was Fabi Marquez, who she's now moved on. She's only doing big stuff now. So good for her. And we have a new colorist who did the coloring on issue 2, and her name is Gisela Piccolo, and she's in Italy, I believe. But anyway,
They
so
got good
she's
artists there, man.
thanks. I'd like to show off more of Geesy's stuff. It's kind of tough to in this kind of shared format. If you want, anyone who's interested on the campaign page, the pre-launch, you can read the first 7 pages.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And you should.
I want to do so. Like, if you could also go to my website, which is here. Let me just do it. Strange-pages.com. Okay. So on my website, you can actually read the first 15 pages for free.
Nice.
I made this reader. It's best on your phone. You can do it you can do it on your computer too, but and I'm trying to come on. So just put it in. Okay. And as you can tell, it's panel by panel, just because that makes it easier to read on the phone. But one of the big problems I had with digital readers is that the text, like if you had a full wide panel, the text is tiny and you can't read it. So you're squinting. So I made it so I could actually scale the text per panel as I was programming it in. And so it's all about the same size text no matter what. As you can see, like this was scaled up quite a bit, which is why it's kind of outside the panel, right? But it makes it actually legible. So yeah, and you could go on there. You can read the first 15 for free. And then if you're feeling spicy, you can go and read the rest of issue 1 for $1 and make an account.
Nice.
You can also reserve on my website. It'll get you a better deal, but as I was just talking about recently, I think most people aren't really worried about getting a good deal. They want to back a project they think is awesome. But you do you. If you want a good deal, that's awesome. If you don't, then that's just as awesome. You can just go and follow the campaign on Kickstarter.
Send the in the private chat, send the link to your site. I'll put that in here too for folks.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll send it real fast. But yeah, it's witches, werewolves, skinwalkers, some stuff that I've made up myself.
Welfare people.
Exactly. Throwing crack at the good guys and the whole shebang. So yeah, it's been a long time coming. I've had this as a story for 10 years. And so, I had to do it some way. It wasn't going to get made as a feature film or a trilogy or whatever, because it'd be fucking millions of dollars, like $1 billion probably, because it's this insane weird Western period piece. So
I'll tell you one thing though, man, is if you could pull it off, it'd be a great radio series, like audio series too.
Yeah. I've thought about just basically doing it in every possible format, because people
even dance.
Put it on Broadway, but it'd be silent. There'd be no songs. It's just what is it called? The Nutcracker, right? There's no singing. Yeah, that's how I would do it. But just like every possible format, because people do what they want nowadays. They just read or consume the way they consume. So I do want to eventually do it as an HBO series though, which would be cool.
Nice.
But
well, you can't do HBO till you have SEO.
SEO and paid ads, targeted ads, and everything. Yeah.
Well, and to tie this back into the original topic, right? Like the way I view this stream, right? Like if even one person ends up following each of these campaigns and backing them, I'd have to say everyone thinks that that's worth it, because small creators like ourselves, every single backer counts, and those backers add up, and that's what can allow us to keep doing this, hopefully, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be anything crazy, the promotion. It could just be have a chat and then hey, for 5 minutes, just take a look at it. Like, I don't need to twist anyone's arm here and say, hey, go back this stuff or go follow it. I mean, just look at the art. I mean, listen to how passionate the guys are and take a chance on it.
Yeah,
So,
but do go follow it though.
yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
yeah, go follow it. Go follow Dan's because
Mhm.
that's going to be an incredibly
There
cool
we go.
story to see it all
There we
in its
go.
gory glory.
Yeah,
Yeah, this right here is why promotion's worth it, even if it's just,
Thanks, man.
you know, a little bit, man. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Can't say the last part of your name. Thank you.
Bourgeoisie, is that it?
Is that
Oh,
what it is?
bourgeois, headless bourgeois,
Bourgeoisie. That is what it is. I'm
bourgeoisie. Yeah.
All that
sorry.
Marxist theory's paying off for me.
My
Commies, we're
French-
back to the circle.
Yeah. Always gonna get blamed for being that, right?
Full
Well, I'll have
circle.
to B, I gotta have you on to talk your comic a little bit
Yeah.
later. I'd like to talk your first two books in
Mm,
conjunction with that, and we just make that a super long just like a super long stream. I want you on for deconstruction to talk with my buddy Brody as well, and Nick, I want you on for stuff. I had a guy on named, this isn't promoting, I'm not trying to pitch my channel because I don't do much on there, but I had a guy named Carlos from the YouTube channel Europas, and he does amazing work. It's a larger channel, and he was very gracious, nice guy to talk to. But man, he's a wonderful person to talk to about story. I'd love to have him and you guys on and just do like a 3 or 4 hour stream talking about story and myth.
That'd be interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, I can bring my my octahedral tessellation.
There you go.
Yeah.
I feel like you change it every time you say it.
No, it's an octahedral tessellation, dude. Every time.
It's the cube from Hellraiser.
Yeah, it looks like that, huh? Looks like the Hellraiser puzzle, dude. But yeah.
And then I should have my sign up page before the end of this month. Like I said, I'll probably have it on Kickstarter and Indiegogo. And then since there are a few new faces in here, I'll just show a little bit of preview of my art. I know you've seen it, Dan.
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
I know, and of course, I myself love staring at it because I absolutely love the work my artist has done. So, here we go.
Let's see.
Thanks, Subjugates.
At least
And
2
thanks,
each.
BA, for
I
having
like
us.
it. That's awesome. And we'll do it all again when you guys launch. Get more
Yeah, man,
backers.
it's a nice little community you've built just in the Bat Chat DM group, and that's why I wanted to get Nick in, because Nick and he'd already DM'd me like 2 months ago or something, an idea like this, the same kind of thing, just talking about like the future of partnering with people. And I was like, oh man, we gotta talk, because like, this is what everybody's talking about, you know.
My idea was kind of like would get rid of the like public facing portion of it, but you know, anyway. Yeah.
Well, you can have a two front attack, like a 2-pronged attack.
For
like
sure.
a medieval fork.
So yeah, this will be the first issue of, I mean, what I hope will be 10 issues. That's the comic adaptation of my Vigilantes Creed novels, which I have book 1 and 2 on Amazon now, for anyone that might have missed it in the crowdfunder. I may do an audiobook before this campaign. We'll see. Haven't really decided, but focus right now is just working on this campaign. I think I'm up to about the 80th page in terms of scripting. This campaign will probably be 60 pages, and then shortly thereafter, a second campaign for a second 60-page book. If I'm fortunate enough to have like a high-funded campaign, I would combine it, but I want to start a little bit more realistically. But yeah, it's going to be centered around a man who makes a personal sacrifice to save an innocent woman, and that places him on a supernatural path that essentially leads to him turning into a gargoyle and finding some rather gnarly secrets out about the city of Detroit. And he has to find a path to overcome those challenges. And it has a lot of biblical and supernatural tie-ins to it. And so obviously going to be a lot of Christian symbolism tied into it. It's not going to push politics or religion by any means, but folks will definitely catch my drift on some of the topics. And it's going to have a very Sin City feel to it. It's essentially if you had a true hero and moral character living in a Sin City type environment. And the art, I think, some would agree also will have a bit of that feel as well. Look at a couple of the other pages here. Plan is to have a black and white version with a black and white cover, a grayscale cover or version with a grayscale cover, and then a black, white, and bloody version with a matching cover as well. So 3 covers, 3 versions, all the same artist who's doing the pencils, the inks, and the lettering, and then helping out with the writing and editing, of course, as well. So I can ignore this typo. We'll be fixing that in edits, but yeah, just really loving the work so far. Excited to see all the future pages. I have about 10 to 12 pages that'll be completely done for the sign up page. So we'll be 20% of the way there. And then, of course, the pages will start flowing in once we start having some funds flow in. But more pages will be complete before the campaign launches, probably sometime, maybe February, March of next year. So,
Yeah, and you delivered 2 novels to people on the last one, man. Your stuff gets done and gets out.
Yeah, I had those done before it launched, as well as a mini comic, so folks got to get introduced to all the characters, the character designs. The character designs are obviously the artist is different as well for this project, but this is more of the vibe I was hoping for in terms of a full-scale comic. Thank you, Cole King. I haven't announced the artist yet. Some people might be able to guess who it is, but I'll be announcing that when the sign-up page is launched.
I'm really looking forward to the black, white, and welfare version.
Oh, it's going to be an inside joke for a long time.
I'm not going to let it die, man. Something like that gets put out
gosh.
publicly. I'm going to keep it forever.
Oh, man.
Well, Dan, you're on welfare, aren't you?
Sure, why not?
Welfare in the form of crowdfunding.
Anyone who wants in the bat chat has to put down their EBT on the table.
It's like that scene from American Psycho.
Oh yeah,
comparing cards.
Comparing. I have the gold EBT with a off-white trim. Like
that's foam.
And this is a 2-page spread that, honestly could be a cover, but this will be a very important scene in the first book here. Gives you obviously introduction to the main villain and the hero here, who is in quite the bind, literally. So, and my artist does everything by hand, so traditional art. You can expect very detailed backgrounds, foregrounds, everything. That's what I was hoping for. So,
does that this have anything to do with the secrets of Detroit? This Cthulhu monster here?
There'll definitely be a lot of Easter eggs and secrets that are based around this character. And again, it ties into a lot of biblical stuff too, as well, with the gargoyle here, Dread Knight. And I think for those that have read the novels, they'll understand. But this is a very layered story where I go very deep into not just around a moral hero, but also the potential tie-ins with religion with gargoyles, right? Because a lot of Catholics believe that they put the gargoyles on the cathedrals to ward off demons and evil spirits. And so I took the route of, well, what if the gargoyle was a symbol of keeping evil spirits out of the body, but as well as a city. And I was like, okay, well, I could really tie that into a lot of aspects of the Bible and other, mythological themes as well. And so, even though, at the surface level, this is a story about a hero turns into a gargoyle. There's some supernatural elements and neuroscience around the villain. The backstory of the spell that turns him into a gargoyle really goes deep into biblical history, as well as just regular, history and wars and things that I think a lot of people will be surprised by. So there's a lot to love and dive into. It's not going to be just surface level entertainment by any means.
No wonder the three of us are getting along so well.
He's like, we're all pathetic.
No, we're all into the biblical history stuff. Okay.
That's what C.S. Lewis did with the space trilogy, BA, which was what I was noticing with your work and what you're and you talking about it, is he tapped into the Christo-pagan world that existed until the modern world, basically, especially in Christianity. Like that was a normal thing. These blending of folk and idea all together that were baptized and Christianized, particularly against the modern scientific mind. And
yeah, and
it's parallel.
Yeah, and it's funny. There's there'll be a lot of neuroscience tied into the story as well. So that's where you get that tie-in right there between like the impact around science and reality, and Christian beliefs, biblical, examples and all that, and how they all can come together to create a plot and then an interesting story. So yeah, excited to get that sign up page going and have plenty of pages for people to check out there. That'll be lettered similar to what Nick did there, so folks will know what they're getting into. And yeah, it should be a pretty hefty book. So excited to get that going.
Well, I think this is just great, man. Like to pat everybody on the back here. I mean, it's like, make a post, people get mad. It's like instead of like just throwing crap on a fire, it's like, look, let's go talk, and it brings out like the best in creators, and people are interested because drama. I mean, who cares? Like the people that were commenting on your thing, like they're not even worth like dealing with. Not like, I'm not trying to insult them as people, but it's like in this scenario, like their arguments, like, this is ridiculous. How can anyone get mad at this idea?
Yeah. Yeah, I think, sometimes it's, people that, well, I mean, this is just the internet in general, especially social media. You'll see this with political tweets and stuff, but, people that may have been bullied when they were younger, and instead of learning the lesson from that of like stand up to bullies, don't become what you hate. I think you see a lot of people on the internet, they become what they hated, and they become the bullies because it's easy to try to bully people on the internet, right? Because you're not physically there in front of someone, and you can basically get away with almost anything. And so that's what they end up doing. And that's what gives them an ego boost, makes them feel important, instead of, hey, have your results, the quality of your books make you feel important. So I think a lot of times it's a lack of maybe confidence, it's insecurity. And yeah, I agree. It's like, hey, why don't we just have a conversation around these things? And what I was promoting, no pun intended, is the betterment of crowdfunding. Like, hey, I want people to be able to raise funds so that they can pursue their dreams. How can anyone see that as a negative thing? Now, yes, maybe you don't like the specific approach, or that I left out certain aspects. Okay, bring those up. We can have a normal conversation, just like I did with the people that did voice their opinions on different elements of this situation. But yeah, clearly some people, they just want to try to stoke a fire. They think, oh, if I do this, I'll get some drama views or drama engagement here on YouTube. But it's like that's not going to translate or convert into anything positive for your campaigns. And I'd much rather help some people grow their campaigns and their business than just do the drama.
Mhm. Yeah.
And to push both of those things, we should get Tony James on here.
And he's another good example of someone who has,
Yep.
done it quite organically, but he also, similar to you guys, like he'll hang out with anybody on a stream, he'll promote. It's not about factions to him. Like he's just super passionate about his books. It ain't about quantity. And I mean, I really enjoyed what I've read out of his content so far. And he's raised some significant funds so far. And I'd
Yeah,
love to
very
see
impressive.
more people highlight that. Again, that's just another example of there's some diamonds in the rough of crowdfunding. And there's people that are also confident in their work like him. And it's like, okay, I want to try to do my part to get that content seen, because I'm going to be hoping for the same. I'm going to want that same level of quality in my book. So, and no one feels good about not being seen if they're confident in their work. Because everyone's got, at least in terms of us, right, the same goal, like have as many people see your book, read your book as possible, because your story means something to you. You want it to mean something to the readers as well. And if it doesn't get in front of potential readers, that never happens.
Oh yeah, and word of mouth is the best way to do it, through promotion or
Mhm.
people who see it, people who do it, people who watch it, and it's if people aren't told, they don't know. And
Mhm.
when we're in the back end, you're right, Coleman. We got to have you on here or on any of the shows on everything. We just got to do a tight circle and get you involved in here as well, Cole. And but we're on the back end. We're trying to get our books on Amazon. They're already on our website for purchase, but I'm trying to streamline that service through Shopify, get the books on Amazon, start getting on TikTok and other places and cons more, and reaching out. People are trying to grow their stuff. You just have to do it step by step by step. Now that we have a backlog of multiple books of multiple series, now the convention table's not so empty.
Mhm.
And I
Yep.
think everybody just has to do that,
Mhm. Yeah. I
Yep.
mean, I wanted to wait till I had 4 issues and my dog's barking and in the background. And
Well, you got
everything.
that, so there you go.
So I've got that. But I wanted to wait until I had 4 issues or something, and they're going still. That's maybe it's bugging me more than everyone else.
You should trap them in the
You're good.
dodecahedron again.
Yeah, last time it was impossible to get them out. So, but then I realized, I don't know, if you only have one thing, then if someone stops at your booth with buying intent, now they just don't have to choose what they're gonna get. Okay, I'm gonna get that, and I don't know, there's not too early. I feel like to start doing that, especially if it doesn't go well. But then you can practice, I guess, your booth side manner or whatever.
Yeah, and I mean that's the thing too. Like there's timing aspects, and then there's everyone's in a different situation financially. They're in a different location,
Yeah, whether or
and
not they've got kids or whatever it
exactly.
is. Yeah.
I like me personally. Like I did a handful of conventions selling novels at comic book conventions. Which is not easy.
Yeah.
Always made my money back and some profit. They always went pretty well, but at some point, it's like the amount of time it took to do the full weekend commitments, and if you have a family, it's like, okay, this just doesn't make sense right now. But once I have a sign up page, then it's a different story. It's like, okay, I'll sell the novels, and then the side benefit will be, hey, go sign up. Here's that mailing list. And when I'm actually launched in the campaign, then I'll be doing as many campaigns as I can while that's launched, and hopefully in demand, as they call it on Indiegogo. Because then it's like, okay, if I can sell books and actually get backers in real time, again, that's multiple, I guess you could say, revenue streams in a way, right? To where that con is a lot more potentially fruitful. So yeah. And there's also other things that people don't talk about too. It's like you can go to comic book shops, just
Mhm.
regular bookshops, and ask them like, hey, can you do an author signing? Can I do some sort of event?
Yeah, we've done that, and they always go
Yep.
great because they don't cost anything.
Yep. You can do farmers markets. I
Mhm.
actually had a really good experience doing a lot of farmers markets in the past.
Well, you
I
and
even
you and,
had
like, things like that, like, sometimes you're the only, like, male product
exactly.
there, and it's great.
Exactly. It's yeah, you're like the only one selling books amongst a bunch of food and other
Soap.
crafts. Exactly. And so it's not just like, like the one lady made it sound so simple. It's like, oh, you just do conventions, mailings. It's like, no, you got to actually think beyond that. There's a lot of things that people can do. I even had a coffee shop when I was living out in Nevada. I
Yep.
used to go there all the time and I used to write. And, one day I saw the owner, I was just like, hey, would you mind if I just put a table outside and sold books? Like I won't be pushy. Just say, hey, if people approach, want to check it out, do you mind? And it's like, yeah, no problem. I did that like 3 times, and I think I sold like 40 books.
Mhm.
It's like it was free. I got people to follow me on social media, and so I'm gonna repeat that same strategy. So there's a lot of things that you can do. I mean, you can do flyers as well, but
Mhm.
um, yeah, you also have to look for things that don't cost you money that you can do, and just build that sign up list or that backer list.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things is try a few things and whatever's working best, double down on it. You know, it's like
Hmm.
whatever's working,
Yep.
you know, if
Yep.
something's working,
Absolutely.
don't go, oh, well, now I'll try this other thing. It's like, no, just do more
Mhm.
of that thing that was working, you
That
know?
thing you
Yeah,
do.
yep. And that's the thing. Like YouTube channels are like that coffee shop scenario.
Mhm.
It doesn't cost you anything. You may not get a sale or a backer. You might, and it's worth a shot. I mean, I had large streams where I only got a couple backers or almost none. And then I also went on streams where they may average like 5 live streamers, right? To where some people will be like, oh, it's beneath me. I'm probably not going to get any backers. I went on one stream and I raised $400 and it only had 3 live stream viewers.
Nice.
Somebody bought the like all in tier, and I'm just like, holy crap. And afterwards, I'm like, well, you know what? I'm so glad I took the time to do it and I didn't have that like mentality that I could have had. And B, man, am I thankful for that person for promoting me. Like that was like having 10 backers all in one from a funding perspective. But the person had a kid that just, like a teenage kid or something that was really into gargoyles and that type of stuff. And they're like, this is their Christmas present. I'm just like, holy shit, how cool is that? So it's worth taking a shot. And that's why I made that tweet where it's like, yeah, it's great to have these streams that will do promotion because it's good for the creator, but it can also be good for the audience and potential backers. They'll find a diamond in the rough for themselves. And it can also benefit the person that's promoting because I'm going to push my audience to them as a result of them allowing me to be visible to their audience. I
Oh,
want to
yeah.
make a win-win, you know?
And you can make a collaborative, like, ecosystem where it's no longer 4 or 5 people jumping back and forth and
Right.
quote unquote competing. It now
Mhm.
becomes a cohesive thing where
Mhm.
it's like, okay, now instead of just one's getting back, now like 1 to 2, then 1 to 3, then 1 to 4, and it's basically if it's cycled in such a way, now you've got your own kind of like little movement thing.
Mm. Yep. And I mean, everybody knows, right?
What's up,
If
Hank?
you do a drama channel, it's a lot more likely it's going to get the views. And again, everyone's got their own view on that type of stuff, and I'm not going to bash anyone that does those type of streams. I get why they do it. It's not my cup of tea. But at the same time, there's also this like what I'd say is like unfair judgment on that, where people believe that, oh, channel A doesn't get many views, so it's not as valuable from a
Mhm.
promotion standpoint or just an existing standpoint than channel B because, oh, they get a bunch of live viewers and they get a bunch of
Mhm.
clicks. But a lot of times the drama stuff isn't selling the books. And you could have that example like I provided where there may be only a few live stream viewers, but they could raise some significant funds. And for a lot of us, it's worth it going on a stream for an hour, even to get one backer, because every backer gets you
Mhm.
closer to making your book. So
Oh yeah.
No, yeah, that's a very, very good point. That the quality of the viewer is more important than the quantity of the viewer.
yeah,
Well,
and the
now
same
don't
with
get into quality
books.
versus quantity again.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd rather have one phenomenal Frank Miller book than 10 mediocre or just
Who are you gonna
blah
say?
books.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say somebody specific.
Or you could say like, Tom King or whatever,
Ugh.
but almost any. Well, I'll be honest. I'd rather have one phenomenal Frank Miller book than 5 books from anybody else, just
Right.
because
Mhm.
that's my cup of tea and I love his books. So, yeah,
Well, and you would greatly invest in his work. You are worth more as a backer of him than 10 casual people backing something else.
Yep.
Well,
Well, hey, I
fellas,
appreciate you guys joining. Yeah, I'm gonna actually.
yep, I gotta
I
run
think
out and
it's
take care of the
that
kids.
time. Yeah, but
Well,
yeah,
all
I
right,
appreciate
guys,
you
I
guys
gotta
coming
get
on.
going. No, I'm just kidding.
You gotta take care of your dogs.
Yeah, dude.
That's right. I gotta go eat some food. That's my excuse. I'm hungry.
Yeah, no, it was good. Thanks for bringing me on.
Yeah,
Oh, for
likewise.
sure. Yeah, we'll do that again for sure. No, it's great to find. I mean, not even necessarily like-minded folks, but just people that can have a conversation, passionate about the craft and the space.
Art on
and-
welfare.
No, we all are. That's
we
all
are
had to show our
crowdfund
cards.
welfare, apparently. But yeah, we'll definitely do this again. Appreciate you guys being here. Appreciate the chat being here. It's a great topic. I'm sure we're going to be talking about the topic, a lot over time. I mean, it's that important, in my opinion. But yeah, maybe we'll talk about burritos and how making your own is going to save humanity. A
Bootstraps,
lot of
baby.
good topics. Yeah, that's right. Yep. Just eat ramen and like it.
All right, guys. Good night.
All
All right.
see you
Take
later.
care, everybody. God bless everybody.